Title: A Portrait in Montmartre, by Wisdom Chronicles. In the heart of Paris, amidst the labyrinthine streets of Montmartre, there breathed an atmosphere of such vibrant hues that it seemed to be a canvas on which life painted its most profound stories. The 1920s cradled the city in an embrace of cultural renaissance, a time when the scars of war were being gently healed by the tender hands of art and liberty. Among the myriad souls that thronged this bohemian paradise was Armand, a young artist whose dreams were as vivid as the Montmartre skyline. His journey to Paris was a pilgrimage, fueled by stories of the Impressionists who had once walked these very streets, and by the burgeoning allure of surrealism that promised to unlock the deepest recesses of the mind. Armand found a quaint studio, a cradle for his aspirations, perched above a bustling cafe that hummed with philosophical debates and the soulful melodies of jazz. The aroma of fresh coffee and pastries from below mingled with the scent of oil paints and turpentine, creating a sensory tapestry as rich and complex as the city itself. The streets of Paris were a spectacle of contrasts. Flappers danced their carefree dance, embodying a spirit of defiance against the shackles of tradition, while elsewhere, the sombre echoes of the Great War still whispered in the winds. The Eiffel Tower, standing tall against the city skyline, symbolized the enduring spirit of Paris, a beacon of hope and progress. Armand spent his mornings by the Seine, which flowed like a ribbon of life through the city. It was a symbol of continuity amidst change, its waters reflecting both the ancient facades of the city and the modernist art that now claimed Paris as its home. The river seemed to whisper secrets of the past and promises of the future, a muse to those who sought inspiration in its eternal flow. His afternoons were often lost in the maze of cobblestone streets, lined with chestnut trees and the lively chatter of sparrows. The contrast between the bohemian poverty of struggling artists and the wealth that poured into the city post-war was stark, yet it seemed to fuel the creative fire that burned within Montmartre. Armand's evenings were a whirlwind of colour and sound. The jazz clubs in Montmartre, throbbing with the heartbeat of the city, were a revelation. The music, an intoxicating blend of sorrow and joy, freedom and longing, seemed to encapsulate the very essence of life. It was here that he met Elise, a flapper whose spirit was as untamed as her bobbed hair, and whose laughter was as infectious as the jazz that filled the air. Their conversations often stretched into the night, ranging from the frivolous to the profound. They spoke of the new artistic movements, of Dada and Surrealism, of Picasso and Dali, whose works challenged the very notion of reality. In Elise, Armand found not just a companion, but a kindred spirit, someone who shared his passion for art and his hunger for life. But beneath the surface of this vibrant cityscape lurked shadows of uncertainty. The economic and political instability of the era cast a subtle pall over the glittering lights of Paris. Armand began to feel the tension between the traditional values he had been raised with and the radical new ideas that now surrounded him. His art, once a pure expression of his soul, now grappled with the lure of commercial success and the fear of obscurity. One crisp morning, as Armand wandered through the streets, he came across an old painter, his hands gnarled with age, yet his eyes burning with an unquenchable fire. They spoke of art and life, and the old man imparted a wisdom that struck Armand deeply. "True art," he said, "is not in the seeking of fame or fortune, but in the honest expression of one's soul. It is a journey, not a destination." This encounter was a turning point for Armand. He realized that his true challenge was not in embracing the new or clinging to the old, but in finding his own voice amidst the cacophony of the era. As the years unfolded, Armand's art evolved, mirroring the transformation of Paris itself. His paintings, infused with the vibrancy of Montmartre, the melancholy of jazz, and the depth of his own introspection began to garner attention. Yet fame, when it came, was but a quiet footnote in his journey. The story of Armand is the story of Paris in the 1920s, a tapestry woven from threads of joy and sorrow, tradition and revolution. It is a portrait of an artist and a city, both seeking their path in a world that was, at once, crumbling and being reborn. And as the sun set on another day in Montmartre, casting a golden glow over the Seine, Armand stood by his window, looking out at the city that had become his muse, his challenge, and his home. In the distance, the Eiffel Tower stood tall, a silent witness to the eternal dance of light and shadow, of past and future, of art and life in the heart of Paris.